Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir, do you remember me? I was in your class last year, a year ago.
Yes, Shambhu, I'm still remembering you, Shambhu, because
I'm glad
you
that
was
you
one of my
remember
best
me.
students. Yes. I remember you, Shambhu.
Okay,
How are you, Shambhu?
sir. Yes, sir.
How are you? Fine.
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. Sir, I'm right now in Maldives. I'm working here.
Yes, I know. You're working there, but I think now there is no classes. Yes, after this coronavirus. Yes.
Yeah, this is Corona, Corona period. So we are under quarantine.
Yeah.
Since last 2 months, there is no class. Um, it's okay. The climate is okay. It's
Yeah. Okay.
more like Kerala's climate. Then
Yeah.
school atmosphere is also very good.
Yeah.
Uh, but the students are just average. That is the problem.
Okay.
That is not a
So I think
problem, but
you are. It's very difficult to get responses from the students here.
yeah, that is the problem.
So I think it's very difficult to enjoy teaching. Yeah.
Yes, because we are teaching in some other language, so
Yeah.
they are not getting much what we are saying, what we are meaning. So
Yeah.
there is a problem with
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So, sir, right now I have contacted you for some other purpose.
Okay, Shambhu.
I so the ghosts of philosophy and psychology are still haunting me.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Shambhu.
So uh, I was reading John Dewey,
Okay.
John Dewey's philosophy. So while reading that, I got some doubts, and I approached you for some clarifications.
Oh, it's all right, Shambhu. Okay. I'm so glad to clarify your doubts. If I can
Okay.
give you some
So
explanations.
since
Okay.
these examinations, PSC examinations are coming, upcoming
Yeah.
examinations are there. So I was preparing for that, and I got some
Mhm.
doubts with the Dewey's philosophy.
Okay.
So could
So.
you explain me some of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
doubts?
Yeah. Yeah. I am very happy to do so, Shambhu. You can ask me. Okay.
Okay. So my first doubt is Dewey's philosophy. While I was reading in some website, I saw that this
Yeah.
philosophy is going by different names, such as
Yeah.
pragmatism in some sources, instrumentalism in some other sources, and even
Yeah.
experimentalism.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering why the same philosophy is going by different names. And could you
Oh.
clarify me on this?
Yes, Shambhu. Actually, John Dewey was he never named his philosophy in any title by using any title. But looking at the nature of his doctrines, philosophical doctrines, his ideas, later people started naming his philosophies by making use of different titles. For example, his philosophy is known as instrumentalism because according to
Mm,
John Dewey,
mm,
there should not be any gap between theories and practices. He
mm,
believed that if we are putting some theories, if we
mm,
are putting forward some theories, we should be able to practice these theories in actual classrooms. And
ah,
even if we are putting forward some philosophical doctrines, we should be able to practice or implement the
mm,
theories in actual life or in actual process. So otherwise, theories will be useless. So
mm,
according to this view, because he was put forth in this view, people started calling his philosophy as instrumentalism.
mm,
And as you asked, his philosophy is known as pragmatism too.
mm,
So according to John Dewey, uh, you should not dream much, or you should not live
mm,
in a dreamy world or in a
mm,
dream world. So there should not be any utopian idea.
mm,
According to John Dewey, you should prepare the curriculum for your educational system, or you should design some aims for your educational system, or you should think about the methods of teaching in your educational system only on the basis of the practicability in actual classroom.
mm,
So we should think about the practicality, the practicability of the items which we are forwarding before others. So he does
mm,
not believe in idealism, and he does not believe in naturalism. Because in idealism, they tell that there are some absolute values, like ideas. In idealism, the ultimate truth is idea. Naturalism, the ultimate truth is nature. But according to pragmatism or John Dewey, there is no absolute value. There is no absolute truth. There is no ultimate truth. Truth or reality is defined on the basis of the circumstances, on the basis of the practicability of things. So his philosophy is known as pragmatism, just because he believed that we should forward, or we should create some educational systems only on the basis of practicability. We should think about the items whether they are practicable in actual classroom. So his philosophy is known as pragmatism, and his philosophy is known as functionalism. Because according to John Dewey, instead of teaching some theories inside the classroom, by making use of a method, we should make the students engage in different activities inside the classroom. So according to John Dewey, there should be activity-oriented classroom. So we have to make use of different methods of teaching by which we can make the students actively participate in the classroom activities. So itself, his philosophy is known as functionalism. So his philosophy is known as instrumentalism, pragmatism, functionalism. Then one more thing is that his philosophy is known as experimentalism. According to John Dewey, we should not make use of some methodologies in our classrooms just on the basis of some philosophical doctrines. Actually, philosophy is not a, though we are telling that philosophy is the mother of all the sciences, philosophy is not a science. It's something actually some ideas which come into the minds of different people. So there is no scientific proof. So according to John Dewey, we should not make use of some methods of teaching or some methodologies or some strategies inside the classroom only on the basis of some philosophical doctrines or only on the basis of some assumptions. But we should make use of different methods of teaching only after knowing that these methods are useful through experimentation. If you want to make use of a method in your classroom, and before making use of that method in your classroom, you should verify that the method is effective after making some experimentation. So his philosophy is known as experimentalism, Shambhu.
Okay, so, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these names carry the same weightages.
Yeah. Okay, so, you can see that all these meanings are based on the same thing, but it can give you some different ideas in different words. Because actually the main name or the main title given to John Dewey's philosophy is pragmatism. Because he is known as the apostle of pragmatism.
Okay. Okay, sir. So that's so the second question.
Yeah.
John Dewey was not a traditional philosopher.
Yeah.
And he's not an extremely progressive philosopher too.
Yeah.
So why did he choose a stand in between these two?
Actually, John Dewey stands in between these two. Because
in between traditional
and progressive education.
Extremely progressive.
According to John Dewey, we should not keep any extreme stand in anything. He believes that the traditional educationists or the idealists always stand for some extremely traditional methods in educational system. So they give more importance to teacher they give prime importance to teacher. They do not give any opportunity for students to actively participate in a teaching learning process. And at the same
Mm.
time, according to John Dewey, the progressive education is also stand for something extreme. For example,
Mm.
just like Paulo Freire, the progressive educationists tell that you should see students as grown-up people.
Mm.
So you have to throw some contemporary issues before the students, and you have to let
Mm.
them think about the contemporary issues, and you have to let them create some solutions for the contemporary issues. But
Mm.
John, do you believe that you cannot give such an opportunity for students? Because though they have got some feelings, though they have got some ideas, still they are children.
Mm.
So
Yes.
without the help of the teacher, they cannot do something just like grown-up people are doing, because they haven't got maturity.
Yes.
So according to John
So I
Dewey,
am
we have to,
experiencing that right now in my class.
yeah.
If I
Actually,
treat them like grown-up people, I cannot teach anything in the class.
no, we cannot teach. That is the
Mm.
problem, because actually even there is learner-centered classroom. Teacher has got some role. If
Mm.
you think about the Vygotsky's social constructivism, you can see
Mm.
that there are three levels of understanding. The first level is students something which the students can learn without the help of any other person. And the
Mm.
second level is known as zone of proximal development, a
Development.
ZPD. And here
Mm.
the students can learn something with the help of some MKO, more knowledgeable others.
More knowledgeable. Yes. I
Then
remember.
there is a third stage. There is
Mm.
a third stage.
Mm.
Shambhu, there is a problem. I think. Do you see me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you.
But okay, 1 minute. Okay, so right now. The matter is that there is a third stage,
Mm.
and this third stage cannot be reached by small children because they are not matured.
Mm.
So there should be the assistance of a more knowledgeable other, and this
Mm.
concept is put forth by John Dewey. He believes that actually the traditional educationists were giving more importance to teacher,
Mm.
and progressive educationists give importance to much importance. So I mean prime importance or complete importance to students. This
Mm.
is not possible because students haven't got maturity, so they cannot do anything themselves. So he
Mm.
stands in between this traditional educational concepts and this progressive educational concepts. He believes that teacher is important, but teacher should
Yes.
not be the center of the classroom. Teacher should be a scaffolder, or teacher should be a facilitator, and teacher
Mm.
should control the activities. Teacher should manage the activities, and students
Mm.
should be given the freedom. And at times there should be some clarification of doubts and such things. So
Mm.
John Dewey stands in between the traditional educational concepts and the progressive educational concept.
Mm.
Sure.
I think that is more practical.
Yeah. Because he is a pragmatist.
Yes.
Because we should not think about utopian ideas. We have to
Mm.
think about the backgrounds, the backgrounds of the students. For example, in
Mm.
Kerala, actually nowadays we are teaching English for students by
Mm.
making them discuss different contemporary issues in English language. The
Mm.
matter is that they do not know the meaning of is and was.
Yeah.
How can we make them? How can we make them discuss some issues, some contemporary issues, just like grown-up people in English language?
Mm.
It's impossible. So progressive means something extreme in the case of modernity, and
Mm.
idealism of traditional educational system is something extreme in another sense. So he stands in between this traditional educational concepts and progressive educational concepts. Shambhu, I think you got the idea. Yes, yes, Shambhu. Yes. Is there any problem, Shambhu? Yes, Shambhu. I think you have got some problem. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
All right. Now,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, right, now, right, Shambhu.
okay. So, so that was about the traditional and
Yeah, yeah,
progressive concepts.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I'm moving to my next question. Okay, is
Yeah,
that all
okay,
right?
Shambhu. Yeah,
Okay. So, I heard that there is a concept like laboratory school in Dewey's philosophy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Laboratory school.
yeah, yeah.
Does this laboratory has anything to do with our science lab or chemistry lab in our school? Or
No,
is
no,
it
no.
any
Actually,
other
is
concept?
laboratory school is not for some scientific inventions or some scientific experiments.
Okay, sir. Then what is this
Dewey was
laboratory school?
is something else. Actually,
Mm,
I have told you that um, uh, his philosophy is known as experimentalism.
mm,
He did not believe in some methods which came there as some tradition.
mm,
So actually, he was a high school teacher. Then he
mm,
was studied with the traditional rote memorization style or the traditional teacher-centered methods of educational system, and he resigned his post.
mm,
And with the help of William Harper,
mm,
who was the then president of Chicago University,
mm,
he started a school called Dewey School in
mm,
November 1894.
mm.
And then later, the name of the school was converted into laboratory school.
Okay.
And it was a school for making some experimentations on some methods to be
Mm,
used in actual classrooms.
mm,
So by making use of different techniques and different variables, he started making some experimentations on different methods
mm.
to verify whether these methods will be effective in actual classrooms.
Okay. So they were children. They were experimenting on children. Mm,
They will carry some children. Then
mm,
they will teach them by making use of some methodologies. Then
mm,
after that, some traditional methodologies, and they will teach some other students by making use of the new method. Then they will
ah,
verify the result. And here, this is it was not for some PhD students. Nowadays,
mm,
PhD students are doing some research works on different methods,
mm,
and they will just collect some sample. Then they will just make some methods there, and they will publish some research report. This is not so. Here, uh, uh, John Dewey and his staff will be making some experimentation on different methods. Then after that, they will invite teachers from different schools to their laboratory school.
mm.
Then by
Okay.
making use of some college teachers, they will give some demonstration classes, and they will give some workshops to such school teachers.
Mm,
So the function of the purpose of laboratory school was to find out new methods
mm,
after making some experimentations, and provide to provide some workshops or some training to school teachers how to make
mm.
use of these methods in their actual classrooms.
Okay.
So it was a laboratory school. The laboratory school was just for inventing or discovering new methods of
New
teaching.
methods of education and
So,
implementing them, right?
then implementing these items in actual classroom.
Classrooms. Okay. So, okay, that's clear. Now, yeah, there was another doubt regarding his
Yeah.
project method. I don't know whether I can say it is his project method. So there is a confusion in project method that they say Kilpatrick is the father of project method.
Yeah.
But and they're mentioning project method belongs to Dewey. So how
Actually,
does
this
this
is
confusion arise?
like Socratic method. Actually, Socratic method was introduced by Socrates. But later, Plato made use this method, and he spread this method all over the world. So still, if you are asked about the contributions of Plato, you have to tell that Socratic method is one of his contributions. So similarly, actually, John Dewey was he is not the father of project method. Actually, Kilpatrick is the father of project method because he introduced project method. But the matter is that John Dewey made this project method more systematic. Then he explained how we can make use this project method as a student-centered or learner-centered method in our classroom. How can we make this project method as something for learning new things? So he's this method all over the world. He made it more systematic. He gave us some steps in project method.
So he was like a propagator.
Yeah. Whenever we talk about project method, whenever we talk about project method, we would see that John Dewey had contributed much for the development and the spreading of this method. So he was a true promoter of this method. So when we talk about the contributions of John Dewey to the modern child-centered education, sometimes we have to tell that project method is one of his contributions to the modern child-centered education. That is the matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then now the next one is, according to Dewey, education is a tripolar process.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, what is this tripolar method, and why did he believe in this process?
Okay, the tripolar concept. Actually, according to John Dewey, education is a tripolar process, or is a three-dimensional process. Because we have got teacher, then student. Okay. So the teacher is teaching the items, the student is learning the items. What should the teacher teach, and what should the learner learn? There is a question. And I do not know whether you remember or not. When I was teaching you the definition of education, after talking about the definitions given by Gandhiji, then Pestalozzi, then Vivekananda, and such people, I had given you a general definition for education by accepting the ideas of these people. That definition was, education is the process of modifying the behavior of an individual, enable him to lead a meaningful life in a society where he belongs to. So education is the process for making a person enabling to lead a meaningful life. So in educational institutions, the teachers should teach something to the students, not just for making them pass the examination, but for making them able to live a meaningful life in the society to which he belongs.
That is, it is more like a pragmatist definition.
Yeah. Then the third one is the society. Teacher, student, teacher should teach something on the basis of the social circumstances. Learner should learn something on the basis of social circumstances. So the tripolar process means education is a process in which you can see three things: student, teacher, student, and the society. Environment, the social environment. Because if you are living in India, you can see that there are some social norms and regulations.
Yes.
Meaningful life in India is different from meaningful life in Maldives. Meaningful, and it's different from meaningful life in USA. So when you teach something to your students, you should think about the social backgrounds or the social environment from which the students come. So this is a tripolar process. So according to John Dewey, it's a tripolar process because teacher is there, student is there. At the same time, teaching learning process should be on the basis of the social circumstances or the environment or the social atmosphere.
Does this mean that the student should live according to the social norms? Okay,
so Shambhu, actually, we have to think about the social norms and regulations also. For example, now you're teaching in Maldives, okay? So if you tell something about some values and such things, you cannot tell the students of Maldives just like you would tell something to the students of our country, India.
Yes.
Yes, because you have got different students from different backgrounds. I think nowadays the people in Maldives are following some European culture. Yes, am I right? No.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
There are some two regions here. That is, North province is some something like they are not that much progressive, but the southern side of Maldives is following European culture.
Yes, but that is, you told progressive and traditional.
Yes.
So if you're teaching if you're teaching some students who are coming from some traditional background, sometimes you may not be able to tell something progressive in their classroom. Sometimes, okay. So on the basis of the social norms and regulations, so on the basis of the social mobility, and on the basis of the source of economy of a society, you have to teach. So a teacher cannot teach something something exclusive from the society. Actually, we have to think about the social backgrounds of the students, the social condition, the social status, the social structure. So that is what is told by John Dewey. Actually, John Dewey is not believing in any traditional values.
Okay.
No pragmatist believes in traditional values. According to pragmatism, actually there is no absolute value. Value is decided on the basis of the social circumstances. So the concept tripolar process or the three-dimensional process
value is decided on the basis of social circumstances.
Yeah.
So
I mean that means that
why there is a need of the third factor, teacher, education, teacher, student, and society. Okay.
So actually, the matter is that it's a tripolar process. Means in the process you can see three items: teacher, then student, then social background or social environment.
Okay.
So the curriculum should be based on the social environment. The teacher is the person who is conveying the items included in the curriculum. And the learner is the person who is receiving the items included in the curriculum. And the process is going on the basis of the social environment or the social atmosphere or the social circumstances. So he called it a tripolar process or the three-dimensional process. Yeah.
Is it like
or
social
social
need?
need
We
or
are
social
teaching according
circumstances.
to social need.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I have one more question.
Okay,
So
Shambhu.
that is, uh, uh, people often compare Gandhi
Yep.
with
Yeah.
Dewey.
Yeah.
Do you think such a comparison is accurate?
Yes, Mahatma Gandhi
Comparison.
and John Dewey.
Yes.
Actually, in the case of ideologies, they are at extreme ends.
Hmm.
Because, as you know, Gandhiji is a person who is standing for, or who stood for traditional Indian values like
Yes.
tolerance, honesty, simplicity, and non-violence.
Yeah.
And John Dewey is a pragmatist. He is a modernist.
Mhm.
So, in the case of values, or in the case of ultimate aim of education, Gandhiji is an idealist.
Yes.
But the matter is that if you think about the temporary aims of education or the proximate aims of education put forth by Gandhiji,
Hmm.
you can see that he is a pragmatist.
Hmm.
Because his basic education tells that students should be able to stand on their own feet after completing the elementary education.
Hmm.
That is what is taught by John Dewey. According to John Dewey, you're teaching not for giving some theoretical expertise, but you're teaching them just for making them able to lead a meaningful life in the society where they belong to.
Hmm.
This is what is told by Gandhiji. So
And
in this case, they are same. They are keeping same concept. And at the same time, you might have heard about the craft-centered education of Gandhiji,
yes.
because he promoted some craft-centered education. According to Gandhiji, the students should be able to stand on their feet after completing elementary education. So when you teach something during the stage of elementary education, you should make them able to do some works.
Hmm.
So you should select some crafts just like pot making, embroidery,
Yes.
okay, during the school days.
Hmm.
And John Dewey also promoted such a thing. According to John Dewey, during the school days, you should give trainings in manual works for students.
Hmm.
So
Like
both of,
vocational education.
yes, vocational education. Actually, we can if you call it in a modern terms, you can term it as vocational education.
Okay.
Means actually the traditional, I mean the not even if the school is not giving vocational education, even if school is the
Hmm.
normal school, then when giving education we should give some trainings in some manual works.
Teachers.
Example, even if you are getting some traditional formal education, even if you are getting some if you're studying mathematics, then science, then physics, chemistry, biology, okay,
Hmm.
but still you have to get some training in some craft creation. And according
Okay.
to
Yes.
Gandhi, actually, even when you're teaching mathematics, you would teach mathematics, if you're teaching circle in mathematics, then you can teach circle by making them constructing a pot, and by
Hmm.
looking at the exit, sorry, the entrance of the pot, it's a circle, okay, you know that the shape
Hmm.
is circle. So
Hmm.
by looking at this shape, you can teach them this is circle.
Hmm.
So this is craft centered education. So in the case of the proximate aims of education, Gandhiji can be called as a pragmatist, just like just like John Dewey. And similarly, John Dewey and Gandhiji put forth the idea of vocational education, or the idea of giving training in some manual works during the elementary education itself. So they are considered same in this regard. So there is comparison. Actually, the comparison is right. There is no, it's not a
Correct.
faulty comparison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So
Yeah.
I think my questions are over.
Okay. So
And
it's
I have one more question since I
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
asked this much.
Yeah.
I should ask something about your personal opinion about Dewey. So, would you promote Dewey's educational doctrine, or is it complete? Do you think it is? Is it? Do you Dewey's pragmatic, or these ideas are complete for a classroom?
Actually, personally, I'm an idealist. Personally, I am
Okay.
idealist because I believe in absolute values.
Mm,
I believe in honesty, simplicity, non-violence, and then tolerance and such things. But at the
mm,
same time, if you think about the modern situation, actually we have to
mm,
accept some issues of Dewey's philosophy, because
mm,
you can accept his philosophy. I think the methodologies and the pedagogical concept of John Dewey in your teaching, without giving up your ideologies,
mm,
without giving up your concept of values. So I think we can the methods nowadays. I too am using some methods promoted by John Dewey, because I used to use some discussion method and debate. Then I used to use some methods such as Ashwamedham and such activity oriented methods. And just before 2 months, I used the jigsaw method there. Jigsaw
mm,
method is a method where you can see complete uh, student participation. The
mm,
teacher is only some manager. So I
mm.
believe that though I am an idealist, I believe that we can accept some virtues of John Dewey in the case of the methods of teaching and such things. So, and John Dewey is considered as one of the greatest people who have contributed lots of things to modern child-centered education. Because nowadays we are using pragmatism in our educational system, and he is known as
Okay.
the apostle of pragmatism. This is
Okay.
my
So,
personal view on his
sir,
educational
then
philosophy.
one more thing, that is, do you find any fault in Dewey's philosophy?
Yes, I
Since you are
find the
not
fault.
promoting, you are sticking to idealist
Yes.
thoughts.
The
So, do you think
the main
anything?
yes, the main limitation is that he does not believe in absolute values.
Hmm,
Then the problem is that people will be defining values in different terms,
hmm.
because
So,
according to
in our
yes,
second question, we discussed that uh, Dewey is neither a traditionalist nor a progressivist.
yes.
So, I think I don't know whether I'm correct or not. I think he took the good things from idealist philosophies and all the
No,
good things
actually,
from.
he's not a traditionalist and he's not a progressive in the case of the strategies of education, not in the case of values.
Okay.
Actually, in the case of values, you can see that he does not believe in absolute values promoted by idealism.
Okay.
See, even if you're hungry, even if you're
Hmm,
hungry, honesty should be there according to idealism.
hmm,
But according to pragmatism, if you're hungry, sometimes you can give up honesty. That's the matter on the
hmm.
basis of circumstance. There is no
So
absolute value according to
it's a
pragmatism.
matter of survival.
Then the
Okay.
matter is that people will misinterpret the concept, because people
Okay.
will,
Hmm,
even after stealing some money of others, people will tell that actually I stole the money because I was hungry, even if he is not
hmm,
hungry. There is a chance for
hmm,
misinterpretation. That's the matter.
hmm. Yes.
I think so.
Yes. Okay. Okay, sir. So that's all. I am out of my questions. So I
Yeah,
got enough
it's
information I needed. I got more enough information I needed. And thank you for your precious time.
thank you,
I
Shambhu.
think I
I'm
can.
also so glad because this is it was an opportunity for me to share something which I know, because I believe in the concept of access to knowledge. If
Okay.
we know something, we should share the knowledge to others. If
Yes.
we are creating some PowerPoint presentations, We should give the PowerPoint presentations to not only our students but to the students of other colleges and teachers of other colleges. And some people will never uh, provide their PowerPoint presentations to other teachers. It is not right. So we should share. We should share our knowledge to others, to students, to teachers. And moreover, I'm very glad to meet you again, because you were one of my best students when you were a student. And I still remember your questions in my classroom. Actually, you always put some questions, and I think you were courage enough to sometimes to cross my thoughts also, because you yes, I think
Sir,
you were
that is
courage
because
enough.
I am confident that I can ask questions to you, because there was some other teachers like they won't allow any questions in classes. So
Yeah.
um, you were open to us all. So easy to approach. It is
Thank you very much.
your quality.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
So
sir.
I feel that we can meet again, Shambhu.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.